Wow.
You've literally just confirmed by saying I've got footage of that offence happening, a public order offence.
Okay.
Haven't you? You've just said...
This episode is brought to us by Bear Britain Audits. Be sure to check the link below, subscribe to his channel, and give him the credit he deserves. What begins with Bear Britain Audits standing in a public place with a camera quickly escalates when warehouse staff decide they don't like being filmed. Rather than simply ignoring it or taking a moment to establish the facts, the response immediately turns to insults and a call to police, transforming a harmless situation into unnecessary conflict. By the time officers arrive, the tone has already been set, not one of curiosity or neutrality, but one built on the assumption that something unlawful must be taking place. Before any meaningful explanation is explored, the interaction shifts toward suspicion first and fact second.
You tell me, can we have a chat?
Yeah, we can have a chat here, can't we?
Yeah, we can.
Alright, cool. So all I've done today is make some video footage, and I've stuck to everywhere that I'm allowed, apart from apparently Amazon, where I wasn't allowed to step on their site.
Who's allowed you permission on the site?
No one's allowed me permission. This is all public, bro. Don't treat me like I'm silly. Yeah, I do this a lot.
You just said...
Again, identify for me as well, please. Before you do.
You do.
Okay, what's yours as well, please?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Have you told me that your body worn camera's on? No, you haven't. That's part of your policy. You can clearly see that I'm filming, bro.
Okay, and you can clearly see that that's...
No, I can now.
I don't have to notify you.
You do. It's part of your policy.
No, it's not.
It's part of your policy. This has been proven before that it's part of your policy.
Stop. You just stated that you have been allowed... No,
I don't have to stop.
I'm trying to ascertain what's
happening. I don't have to... Listen, bro, I don't want to interrupt you, but to be honest, I don't want to speak to you, yeah? I'm going about doing my civil right. I'm allowed to go around and film in public areas.
Been allowed. Who has allowed you?
My rights as a human being in this country.
And they have a right to know who is filming or taking photographic images of the building.
No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
What stands out here is the confidence with which the officer gets the fundamentals wrong. He speaks as though Bear Britain requires permission to film, despite the fact that filming from a public place is protected under Article 10 of the Human Rights Act 1998, which safeguards the right to gather and share information. At the same time, he dismisses his own body-worn video policy. Even though most UK police forces expect officers to make people aware when body-worn video is recording, where practicable, in the interest of transparency. So, in a single breath, he disregards a rule that applies to him while attempting to impose a restriction that does not exist for the public. That contradiction speaks volumes about the approach being taken.
On my way to taking someone to professional standards for exactly the same thing, trying to trump up charges that aren't there. Yeah, no. Listen, no, I'm not saying that you are. You're trying to tell me though.
You're not telling me what has happened. You're just saying you're doing your civil right. Doing what? Taking images.
Filming the building.
What,
the building. Amazon. Look at this place. It's huge.
I know it's huge, but why? What's the reason why?
Because I like to. I don't have to tell you that.
No, I'm just trying to understand why.
But I know. But I'm going to stick to. I don't have to tell you that. And that's, you can say that being as awkward.
How am I supposed to ascertain what's happening?
You don't have to ascertain anything until I've committed the
I've had an incident that's been called.
Have I committed an illegal offence?
Well, as far as what we've heard on the call is that there's been swearing and shouting, so I need to know who that's been coming from.
Those down there, and the video's got it to prove it.
Right, and can you show me that?
Yes, I can.
Because if you're involved in that and you've been shouting and swearing, that is an offence. That is something I need to ascertain what has happened.
Of course. Hey, you know this camera? You see this camera? It's an independent witness. Yeah, so that's another reason I film, because when stuff like this happens, when people try and say stuff happened that didn't happen, we can now go back to this footage and see, can't we?
What we've heard on the call is that there's been lots of shouting and swearing going on.
Right,
so we need to ascertain what that's in relation to. So if people, that's called public order, that is an offence, And I'm here to try and ascertain what has happened.
The officer now attempts to reframe his actions as simply trying to establish what has happened. However, that explanation struggles to withstand scrutiny when compared how the encounter actually began. There was no neutral fact-finding process, only immediate assumptions and accusations, including claims that Bear Britain had been swearing, something the footage clearly disproves. This is precisely why recording these encounters matters. When allegations appear without foundation, the camera becomes the only safeguard between a citizen and an officer's version of events. Without it, the situation could easily move from a conversation to an accusation that the individual involved would have little ability to challenge.
You're not being very forthright with me, and I understand why. Because
I don't have to. Because I don't have to.
No, but I have to ascertain what's happened.
Yeah, but I don't have to still tell you, bro. This is what I'm like until I commit an offence.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're saying a public order offence, yeah?
An offence has been committed.
Where is the person that feels harassed, alarmed and distressed? Where are they? Who are they? You have to have a complainant. Where's the complainant?
No, it doesn't.
Where's the complainant?
No, it has to be an assumed person. A person
Okay,
of
so
reasonable firmness. You think you know your legislation, but if you do, then
that's all you guys want to deal with is legislation. What about what you swore to when you took up your job? Wasn't that under common law? Most of that's under common law, isn't it?
That wasn't under common law.
I don't care. You guys still just swear by it.
There are other pieces of legislation.
I know
that.
that.
Swear by common law. There are other pieces of legislation that we swear by.
Okay.
I'm still trying to ascertain what has happened. Now, what I'm saying.
And I told you what's happened is I've done some filming and they haven't liked it.
And I'm telling you, we are aware that a public order incident has taken place.
No, how are you then? So who was it by?
So I don't know that. I'm trying to ascertain that from yourself. You were reported to be involved. I've come here. I'm trying to ask you what has happened. Now,
so how do you know that one's taken place? If you don't know who done it,
we can hear it on the call.
No one at the time, and that you're now lying. You're lying because I was filming at the time when that call apparently would have come through.
Caught it. You've just said on your
camera. Yeah, I've caught that I haven't. No, it would have been them because it hasn't come from me. So if there is swearing on this footage, it's going to come from them. It won't be coming from me.
Once the officer leans into a public order allegation, the weaknesses in the argument become apparent almost immediately. Bear Britton asked the obvious question: who exactly was caused harassment, alarm, or distress? Public Order Act offenses depend upon that impact existing. Rather than identifying anyone affected, the officer dismisses the question and claims a complainant is not required, while simultaneously accusing Bear Britton of not understanding the law. That is a curious position to take when the threshold for such offenses is closely linked to the effect on other people. The argument becomes even weaker when the officer insists he heard swearing during the call to police, something the recording directly contradicts. Moments like these demonstrate why evidence matters. Without the footage, an unsupported allegation could easily become the basis for enforcement action.
I don't know that.
Okay.
You're not showing me
and even this footage now, I don't have to, but I will. I will, just because I can't wait to prove you wrong.
Showing me anything to the contrary.
Okay. Also, I want to know that hang on, before I show you anything.
Public order offence has been committed.
Right.
We can hear it on the phone call. Swearing and stuff is taking place in public. Now you're saying you can prove that it's not you because you have video.
And if it proves that it's them, are you going to go and deal with that?
I'm going to go have a chat with them afterwards.
Straight up, because I'll be following you to make sure that you do follow it up. Because I know how this works. If I'm swearing in here, you're going to deal with that. But if it comes back that they're swearing in it, you won't deal with that. I ain't stupid. To be honest, I want to go about my business. Am I detained? Am I detained? Am I detained?
I just need to know what's happening.
Yeah, and I'm asking, am I detained? So I'm free to go. Am I free to go?
Well, I need to confirm your identity, so that's
you don't need to confirm my identity. I don't have to give it you till an offence has been committed. I do not have to give it you.
Has been committed.
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. You turning up and saying an offence has been committed doesn't mean one's been
committed.
No,
it hasn't been committed, and you've just confirmed it by saying you've got footage of it on your phone.
Oh, wow!
You've literally just confirmed by saying I've got footage of that offence happening, a public order offence.
Okay.
Haven't you? You've just said that.
Okay.
Bear Britton asked the key question. Is he actually detained? Instead of providing a clear legal answer, the officer falls back on personal opinion, stating that he is not happy to let him leave. That is not how police powers operate. An officer's feelings or suspicions alone do not create legal authority to restrict someone's movement. The reasoning then shifts once again to identity, with demands for personal details so officers can confirm who he is. Yet that only makes sense where a lawful power exists to require such information, usually linked to a specific offense or an arrestable circumstance. Here, the officer appears to be working backwards, assuming that an offense must have occurred and attempting to use identity as a tool to make the facts fit that belief. Before we continue, there's something I've been building over the last few months with a small team. It's called Under What, because whether people like it or not, the legal landscape in this country is changing. Powers are broad. Enforcement is active. New laws arrive quickly. And most people only discover what they don't know when they find themselves directly involved in a situation. Under What is designed to help you understand the system you live under at all times. Inside are more than 100 fully interactive legal guides. Not just reading material. guides where you make decisions, and see how those choices affect your legal safety, escalation risk, and evidential position. StopBot is built into Platform, a policing-focused AI specifically designed around UK law. It explains powers and thresholds clearly, and in guide mode, acts like a teacher, expanding upon topics and reinforcing understanding, so you are not left second-guessing yourself. There's also a daily UK policing news feed focused on real incidents, operational developments, crime trends, and exclusive deep-dive articles from me covering police misconduct cases, upcoming legislation, and what it all means in practice. Then there are the protection tools, a live drone safety map with NOTAM awareness, a civil claim checker to assess potential liability, a police complaint generator, a subject access request builder, and more features currently being developed. This platform is not built around outrage. It exists because confidence in policing within the UK is at an all-time low, and people need to stay informed, prepared, and protected. It launches soon at an affordable monthly price. If you want to see it properly when it goes live, the Underwatch channel is linked below in the description.
What I meant in that is, the footage here will show that I didn't at any point swear. The guy started going crazy at me, and I did actually say to him, bro, what you're doing now is a public order offence.
So potentially,
that's what I said to him. So you probably heard me say that on the call.
I need your details if you are the victim of the public order
offence. But I don't, public order offence. You think I'm going to have somebody in trouble for a public order offence? Come on, mate. Yeah.
It's just the issue becomes when you trespass. Obviously, that's a civil issue.
Of course.
And even more so if you're trying to get into buildings.
Of course.
So we just want to make sure that's not going to.
That's not going to happen. This guy seems to think he's going to. I don't know. You're not having my details. You're not having them. You're not having them. You might be able to take my mates.
To go over there and speak to them and take.
Don't. I've just told you I don't want you to.
Right, fine. On your way then.
If I'm free to go, I'm free to stay. So I won't be going nowhere, sir. So stop, like, trying to talk down to me.
Stand here pointing that in my face.
Well, then disappear. You're the one that's approached me today, not the other way round.
Can't you?
I don't have to. I don't have to. It's a public place, and it's up to you to make privacy in a public place. So if you'd like to make privacy, then I suggest you maybe get in your two shiny cars with flashy lights, right, and have a conversation. But I will stay here for as long as I want. Listen, if you were to listen,
I've been fair with people. I've been fair with you.
I don't. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You haven't been fair with me. This video will show that you haven't been fair with me. No, you haven't.
I've not been fair with you. I've just asked you nicely to go on your way.
No, on your way. I don't have to go on my way. But anyway, enjoy your day, mate.
I will.
Fantastic.
What truly exposes the situation is how quickly the entire premise collapses once the footage is reviewed. The allegation that triggered the encounter simply is not there. In that moment, the officer loses the only thing supporting his authority throughout the interaction. When the evidence directly contradicts the allegation, the conversation should end. Instead, there is still an effort to prolong the encounter by pushing for details that no longer have any relevance. It is a policing equivalent of refusing to let go of an argument that has already been settled. There is also an important principle at work here. Police powers are not meant to survive on suspicion alone once the facts are established. Once the footage confirms that nothing happened, the legal basis for continuing the encounter disappears with it. That makes the ending particularly revealing. After all the confidence, the accusations, and the attempts to justify the confrontation, the officers eventually walk away with none of it standing up to scrutiny. The camera that was treated as a problem at the beginning ultimately becomes the very thing that resolves the entire encounter. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue my independent coverage. Also, don't forget to check out Bear Britain Audits. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some support. Thanks for watching. This was British Police Hub, and I'll see you in the next one